Two land girls were clattering across the yard as Bunch Courtney emerged from the dairy. Their voices were gin clear on a frosted air. "According to that Rowley Jenner, he's been out there half the night," Gwynnie said. "I heard the driver copped it," Val replied. "Oh, just think." Gwenny's voice dropped to a breathless stage whisper. "Some poor chap laying out there in the cold and dark and dying just like that." "Morning, girls," Bunch called. "Something going on I should know about?" "Morning, boss," said Gwenny. "There's a car in a ditch up Lich Hill, so Mr. Jenner says." "Really? Anyone from around here?" "Not a clue, boss. Car's a red one, though." "Red? Is it indeed?" Bunch rubbed at her lower lip. The half of Lich Hill was on the estate, and she should go and check it out, though there was a mountain of paperwork awaiting her attention. On the other hand, Perringham's estate's retired steward lived close to there, and Parson drives a red Austin Ruby, she thought. "I'll never forgive myself if something's happened to him and I did nothing." "Well, thanks for telling me, girls. I'll make inquiries." Bunch crossed quickly to where a black fell pony Perry was tethered and headed out across the downs. The skies were just losing the pinks of dawn in favour of a wintry blue, and the crisp November frost had turned the ground to iron. But the air was sweet, and the hillsides quiet, not a whisper of the fighter craft from Tangmere and Parham that had been fending off the Luftwaffe on a seemingly daily basis, and she revelled in the peace of the day. 15 minutes later, she was reining Perry in beside the copse, from where she could view the crash scene at a discreet distance. She could see the ambulance, sharing a stretch of icy verge with the police Wolsey. Dr. Lewis's old E-type Vauxhall was pulled into the entrance of Chell's Farm, just where the road dived between the trees toward Inship Village, and midway between them all, the rear end of a wrecked sports car, protruding from the ditch at a giddy angle, its spare wheel pointing eye-like at the sky, while its red bonnet was buried deep in glutinous Sussex mud. Bunch knew a Jaguar Roadster when she saw one, and that, she told herself, is about as far from being Parsons Austin Ruby as it's possible to get. A small group was gathered around the rear of the ambulance, and she recognised P.C. Botting and the ageing Dr. Lewis as both were Winkham residents, and not unexpected. But Detective Inspector William Wright, she mused. Now he's a curiosity. All this way for a motor accident. Something's brewing. Wright was hunched against a chill, making him seem even leaner than she remembered. The brim of his trademark fedora was pulled down against the cold air, and she just knew those town shoes of his would be wholly inadequate against the crackles of icy mud around his feet. She urged Perry down to the road and halted just a few yards from the group. Wright shot a covert glance in her direction, and then back to the stretchered body. "Damn you," Bunch muttered. "Are we really going to go through all this territorial nonsense again?" She slid from the saddle and hitched Perry to the field gate. "Good morning, Wright," she called. "Long time no see. And who's this?" She jerked her head toward the body, outlined beneath a meagre blanket, and paused. The body's feet were uncovered, and she wanted to tug the cloth over them because it somehow seemed to matter. Wright's voice dragged her back from the notion. "Miss Courtney, how may we help you?" "Oh, I heard there was an accident on the estate, and naturally I had to check." "How very conscientious," he said. "Oh, noblesse oblige and all that." "I'm sure. I assume you know Dr. Lewis?" "I do indeed. Good morning, Lewis." The GP doffed his hat and added a slight bow. "Tragic event, Miss Courtney. Awful way for a young man to go." "Do we know who it is?" Bunch craned her neck for a closer look and rolled her eyes as Lewis attempted to block her view of the dead man. She smiled at Wright. "Bit beneath you, isn't it? A motor shunt is more P.C. Botting's bailiwick." "No police work is beneath me," he growled. "I am a serving officer." Bunch knew she'd hit a raw spot. Nothing was going to deflect her now. "Course you are," she said. "I'm just surprised you traipse up here from Brighton because some bear cubs come a perler on the ice. So come on, out with it. What's special about this chap?" "Nothing so far," Wright snapped. "P.C. Botting put a call out for reinforcement, and here I am." Wright rubbed at the back of his neck. "You'll have to excuse me. Been on duty all night, and then I'm called out to this." "Anything I can do?" Bunch asked. "Well, since you're a bit horsey." Wright lifted his chin to eye her up and down. "Our victim does have a Hunt type in. You might even know him." Bunch met his stare head on. The horsey jibe stung. See here, Inspector. Lewis laid a protective hand on the stretcher. Asking a lady to identify corpses by the roadside. Simply not done. Nonsense. Bunch waved the doctor aside. I'm not some shrinking violet, you should know that. But it's not a fit place for a young lady, the doctor replied. Leave the police to do their work. Oh, I shall, said Bunch. Once I've assisted the chief inspector here, as he asked so nicely.